The starship Vorten 7 drifted above a dead gray planet, its giant engines, once loud, were silent. Inside, alarms screamed through the metal halls. Red lights flashed. Smoke poured from the engine core. Alien soldiers ran in panic. Officers shouted orders in a language filled with hisses and clicks. No one noticed the human crouched in the shadows. His hands were black with oil. His face was hidden under a metal cap. His name was Jox, and he was just a mechanic no one respected. No one talked to him. No one trusted him. He only fixed what was broken. And even then they watched him like he was a dangerous animal. Jox didn't care. He kept his head down, his tools closed, and his mouth shut. Then the private door hissed. Open. Two tall alien guards rushed in. Between them was a stretcher. On it lay a young alien boy. His skin was pale blue, and strange wires ran through his chest. Blood leaked from his mouth. The Emperor's son. A soldier gasped. The room froze. Sparks fell from the ceiling. The chief engineer pushed forward. We need medical bots. They're offline. Someone yelled. What happened to the AI? Corrupted. Systems not responding. The chief engineer stared at the boy. The stretcher was linked to the ship's life systems. But those were broken now. Technopath. They're all dead. The room fell into silence. Then a small voice said, There's one person left. Everyone turned. A short technician pointed at the human. Him, the mechanic. The aliens growled. That's a human. He's not even a citizen. He's a slave. The technician shook his head. I've seen him fix core systems with nothing but a wrench. He talks to the machines. The chief engineer frowned. We can't trust a human with the Emperor's son. But if we do nothing, he'll die. Someone whispered. Jax stood up. He didn't speak. He didn't beg. He just picked up his toolkit and walked. Slowly to the stretcher, the aliens backed away like he was carrying a bomb. He knelt beside the boy. His eyes scanned the wires. His fingers touched the panels. He closed his eyes for 2 seconds. Then he spoke. He's connected to a pulse regulator that's shorted. Do it, the chief engineer said. Jax didn't answer. He opened his box, pulled out a glowing tool. The lights danced on his face as he worked. Silence filled the room. The ship creaked. The boy gasped. A light sparked. Jax adjusted wires. His hands moved fast, like he wasn't thinking, just feeling. The monitor beeped, then slowed. Pulse is stabilizing, someone said. Gasps filled the room. He's saving him. He's really saving him. Jox looked up. I need to reach the engines, AI link. There's code corruption. If I don't clear it, he'll crash again in 5 minutes. The chief engineer hesitated. Let him through, he ordered. Jax stood and moved toward the AI panel as he walked. Some of the aliens spat near his feet. Filthy human, watch your back. But Jox didn't react. He opened the AI console. The screen was filled with static and red arrow lights. The system was fighting itself. Jox cracked his knuckles, then started typing fast. Fast, precise alien code flowed past his eyes. His fingers moved like lightning. One error vanished, then another, then a deep alarm sounded. The Emperor's son screamed from the stretcher. Jack shouted, Reboot now, the code's fighting back. No, someone yelled. The systems live. Reboot will. Jox slammed the console. Sparks flew. Then, silence. The alarms stopped. The red lights faded. The engine, HUMM-ED. The life support unit glowed green. The boy on the stretcher took a deep breath and opened his eyes. He's alive, whispered a soldier. Jox stepped back, breathing hard. His clothes were burned, his hands shaking, but his eyes were calm. The chief engineer walked to him. You. He didn't finish the sentence. One by one, the alien officers looked at Jox, some with fear, some with shock. Some with shock, the guards lifted the boy. Respect, the guards lifted the boy and carried him away. Jax turned to leave. Stop, the chief said. Jax froze. You just saved the future ruler of our empire. Jox didn't reply. You could have let him die. Wasn't my job, Jox said softly. The chief engineer looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. You have earned a name on this ship. Jox said nothing. He just walked back to his dark corner, picked up his wrench, and sat down in the smoke outside. The stars burned cold and silent. But deep in the heart of the ship, a whisper had begun to spread. The human saved him. The human saved the prince. No one trusted him until now. And somewhere far away, in the golden halls of the Emperor's palace, a message was already being written about the forgotten human, the mechanic, the one who had done the impossible, and soon that message would change everything. Jocks stood alone in the dark engine bay. The ship had gone quiet again. The lights still flickered above him, but the alarm bells were gone. The chaos had stopped. He had fixed the boy. He had silenced the emergency. But he knew it wasn't over. Something was wrong deep inside the ship. Not just broken wires. Not just burned circuits. Something hidden. Something dangerous. He felt it. He could always feel. When machines were sick, he looked at the AI. Terminal again. The system had fought him. That wasn't normal. The ship had resisted him like a living thing. Trying to protect its secrets, he walked slowly toward the interface panel, where the boy's life pod had connected. He knelt down, opened the lower latch dot, and there it was. A pulse regulator chip, melted from the inside. Sabotage. He whispered. JX knew what a burnout looked like. This one was no accident. Someone had overloaded the core on purpose. Someone had tried to kill the Emperor's son. JX stood up and looked around the room. Was empty again. The soldiers had taken the boy. The engineers had gone silent, but he knew. Someone was watching him, and whoever it was, they didn't want the truth to come out. Jocks walked back to the lower decks, down a narrow hallway lit with dim blue lights. He passed by sleeping pods and storage, lockers back to where the human slaves lived, cold, silent. Dark rooms made of steel, his tools clanked against his hip. He opened his door, stepped inside, locked it, then opened the secret. Panel under his bunk, inside were pieces of old tech. Earth tech banned on this ship, bits of metal, chips, and a small, square device with a glowing red light. Jocks pulled out the device. It was a scanner, human-made. He plugged it into a wire from the ship's wall. The screen flickered. Data started to pour in. He filtered it, looked at logs. Then he saw it. A system override 2 hours ago. Command lines injected by someone from Command Deck 3. His hands gripped the scanner tighter. Someone high up did this, he muttered. Not just a rogue soldier, a high-ranking officer. He stared at the screen, then turned it off. No one could know he had found this. Not yet. If they knew, they'd kill him. Bunkin stared at the ceiling. But he didn't sleep. His mind was racing. Why? Try to kill the Emperor's son. What did they gain? Was it a power grab? A civil war? He didn't know. But he had to find out the next day. He was summoned. Guards knocked on his door. JAX opened it. Without a word, the guards didn't speak either. They walked him through long metal corridors. Past alien workers and officers who stared at him like he didn't belong, some with fear, some with hate, but a few with curiosity now. Whispers followed him. That's him, the one who fixed the prince. They stopped in front of the command bridge. The massive doors opened. Inside, standing near a high command chair, was the chief engineer. Beside him, another figure in dark armor, a woman tall, her eyes sharp like lasers. Step forward, she said. JX obeyed. This is Admiral Threx, the chief said. She speaks for the Emperor himself. Jocks nodded. I heard you saved my son, she said. I fixed the machine, Jocks answered. Her lips twitched slightly. No pride, no fear. Good. But I want the truth. Was it just a malfunction, or something more? Jocks paused, then shook his head. I don't know. Her eyes narrowed. You're lying. I didn't say sabotage, Jocks said, because I have no proof yet. She stepped closer. You speak like an engineer, not a slave. I was one, Jocks replied. Before the war, he nodded. She studied him for a moment, then looked at the chief. Give him access, temporary clearance. I want a full system scan. If anyone tried to kill my son, I want names. The chief blinked, but Admiral, he's human, and he saved the heir to the Empire. She snapped. The chief bowed. Yes, Admiral. She turned back to Jocks. If you lie to me again, I will space you out an airlock. Understand? Jocks met her eyes. I understand. Good. You start tonight. She left without another word. The chief walked Jocks back down. "Don't get comfortable," he said coldly. JAX didn't reply. That night he entered the engineering core again. This time, with full access, doors opened for him. Consoles responded. To his touch, alien technicians stared as he moved through the system like it was part of him. He pulled up the logs again. The deeper levels, hidden files, encrypted, keys. He traced the override code and found it a digital signature. It belonged to someone named Commander Verne. He didn't know the name, but he knew what it meant. Someone in charge of the tactical wing. A man with access to weapons, power, and now, motive, Jocks. Saved the data, encrypted it, hid it in a harmless system, folder masquerading as old cleaning logs. Then backed away. The next step would be dangerous. He needed to confirm it. He needed to see Verne's personal access history, but getting that, he'd have to break into a restricted deck. One mistake, and he'd be executed. He stood there in the quiet engine room, thinking. Then he heard something behind him, a soft footstep. He turned fast, but no one was there. Then a voice came through the vent. "You shouldn't have looked human." Jocks froze. The voice was cold. "Mail.com? You should have stayed invisible. Just a tool, just a wrench boy." Jocks stepped back slowly. "Who are you?" Silence, then a soft laugh. "I'm the man who's going to erase you." Then the lights died, all of them. Darkness swallowed the room. Jocks grabbed his wrench, took cover behind a control station. A soft beep came from his belt. Someone had hacked the scanner. The hidden data was exposed. He had no more time. The hunt had begun. The lights stayed off. Only the red emergency glow from the engine core gave Jocks any light. He crouched low, wrench in hand, eyes scanning the shadows. The voice from the vent still echoed in his mind. "I'm the man who's going to erase you." He didn't know who it was, but they knew him, and they knew what he had found. The access logs, Commander Vorn's signature .JAX, had touched something he wasn't supposed to see. Now someone wanted him dead. A soft noise came from the hallway. Not footsteps too soft, something crawling. Jocks backed against the wall, holding his breath. A faint buzzing sound filled the air. Then a small drone floated into the room, silver and round. A silent hunter. It scanned left, then right. Then locked onto Jocks, its weapon arm rose. Jocks ducked behind a panel. The drone-fired sparks exploded from the wall behind him. He rolled, grabbing a loose cable from the floor. One end sparked with raw power. He waited. The drone hovered around the corner. He leaped forward and jammed the cable into its side. The drone screamed. Its lights blinked once, then it crashed to the ground. Dead JAX stepped over it, heart pounding. "Nice try," he whispered. But he knew it wasn't over. Whoever sent that drone wouldn't stop. He had to move fast. He left the engine bay and headed for the lower conduits. He knew secret paths, old tunnels the aliens had forgotten. He passed through maintenance. Shafts crawled under coolant lines and slipped through a broken panel into a silent hallway. His mind raced. He had the proof. Commander Verne had ordered the override that nearly killed the Emperor's son. But why? Power. Revenge. Jocks didn't know, but he knew where he might find answers. The archive room, Deck 9. Behind the old tactical servers, it was off-limits to humans. But Jocks had bypassed tools hidden under his belt. He made his way there, avoiding cameras. Stepping quietly through the shadows, every step reminded him of the past. Back when he was free. Back when he had a name. Not just the mechanic. He used to be Jocks Merrill, chief engineer on Earth's last fleet ship, the Orion Blaze. Before the war, before Earth lost, before he was captured and sold, his team had called him Machine Whisperer. He could fix anything. Hear what others couldn't. Then came the Battle of Black Rings. Earth was betrayed by its own allies. They were surrounded, outgunned. He watched his ship fall, watched friends die. He had escaped in a broken pod, only to be picked up by a Varnathi scavenger ship, sold to this empire. Like scrap metal. For 2 years, he stayed silent, broken, forgotten, but now, the machine was waking up again. He reached the archive room. 2 alien guards stood outside. He hid in the shadows, watching, waited, then triggered a smoke release in the nearby junction. Alarms. blared. The guards rushed away. He slid forward, popped open the panel, and sliced the lock wires. The door slid open. Cold air rushed out. Rows of data towers lined the room. He stepped inside. Closing the door behind him, the hum of power filled the space. He walked to the central terminal, typed. Quickly, access denied. He pulled out his Earth-made decryptor, plugged it in the screen, flickered, then opened. He searched for Commander Vern. Files appeared, security logs, communications, orders. One message caught his eye, encrypted but not military. Code. It was. Merchant code. From the Black Ciphers. Jox's eyes widened. The Black Ciphers were Galaxy-class assassins, hired killers if Vern was talking to them. Then this wasn't just a power move, it was a hit. Ordered from outside the Empire, he opened the file, read the translation. Target, Imperial Air. Status, confirm when confirmed, fatal. Payment sent. Jox stared at the screen. Someone had paid to have the Emperor's son killed, and Vern had accepted. Suddenly, the screen went black. Access traced, a voice said. Jox's blood froze. He yanked the DECRYPT, or turned. The door opened, and 3 alien guards stormed in. Freeze. Jox dropped the decryptor, raised his hands. They grabbed him. One punched him in the gut. He fell to his knees. What's your clearance? The officer barked. Admiral Threx. Jox gasped. She gave me access. Lie again, and I'll burn your eyes out. The alien snarled. They dragged him out, took him through long halls down into the brig level, threw him into a cell. The door sealed with a hiss. He sat there, breathing hard, blood in his mouth. He looked at his hands, still shaking, but not with fear, with anger. He had the truth, but no one would. Listen, not yet. Footsteps approached. The cell door opened. Admiral Threx stepped inside. Behind her was Commander. Vern. Jox's eyes narrowed. Vern smirked. Funny how rats always chew on wires. Jox said nothing. Threx stepped forward. You broke into the archives. I found a contract, Jox said quietly. To kill your son. Threx paused. What? I saw it. Signed by the Black Ciphers. Where is it? They wiped it. Did you back it up? No. I didn't have time. She looked at Vern. Was there any trace? Vern shook his head. Nothing, Admiral. He's lying. Jox stared at them. He could see it now. Vern was too calm, too smooth, and Threx. She looked unsure. Maybe she believed him, maybe not. You can kill me, Jox said, but it won't stop what's coming. Threx narrowed her eyes. What do you mean? Someone inside your command wants war. If the boy had died, the Empire would have blamed rebels. Maybe even Earth. Someone wants chaos. Silence. Then Threx said, Get out. The guards pulled Jox up, dragged him back to his cell. But just before the door closed, Threx leaned in. If you're lying, you'll vanish before the next sunrise. If I'm not, Jox said, you'll need me again. The door slammed shut. He leaned back on the wall, closed his eyes, and waited. The cell was cold. Jax sat in the corner, knees up, staring at the wall. He hadn't slept. He couldn't. Too many thoughts raced in his mind. The boy wasn't just injured by accident. Someone had tried to kill him, and now Jox had no proof left. No files, no backups, no allies, only danger. The guards hadn't spoken to him since yesterday. No food, no questions, just silence. But silence meant something. Someone was thinking or preparing. Then dash footsteps, heavy. Boots echoed in the corridor. Jack stood, up. Ready for anything. The cell door opened. It wasn't a soldier, it was a nurse, an alien, slender with pale blue skin and a smooth voice. You're coming with me. Jox frowned. Why? She didn't answer, only turned and walked away. Jox followed. 2 guards behind him. No chains, no words. They entered the medical wing. Clean. White, bright. Strange smells filled the air. Machines beeped softly in the last room, behind a force field. Lay the Emperor's son. Still weak but alive eyes. Open. Watching. The nurse touched a panel. The field faded. You may speak? Jox stepped closer. The boy blinked, then spoke in a quiet voice. You fixed me. Jox nodded. Double quotes. Yes. The boy coughed lightly. Why did you help me? Jox didn't move. Because I knew how. The boy stared at him. You're human. They hate your kind. I know, and still, you helped me. Jocks sighed. Machines don't care who you are. If I can fix them, I fix them. The boy's lips curled slightly. A smile. You're strange, so I've been told. Then the door slid open. Threx walked in this time. No armor dot, just a dark uniform. She looked tired, but sharper than ever. She looked at her son. You may rest now. The boy closed his eyes. Soft breathing followed. Jocks turned to Threx. You're watching him closely. I'm his mother, she said. I thought you were the Admiral. I'm both. Jocks raised an eyebrow. Do you trust your commanders enough? Enough even... Vern, her eyes narrowed. You still accuse him. I don't accuse, Jocks said. I observe. The bomb inside your son wasn't external. It was inside the medical system. She looked surprised, JAX continued. I traced the power surge. It wasn't from the engine. It was routed through the ship's biocore. Only someone with medical override codes could have installed it. Threx crossed her arms. And you're saying Vern has access to those? No, Jocks said. I'm saying someone else does. And they used Vern's channel to hide it. Threx stayed silent. Her mind was working. You mean Vern may be a cover? Jocks nodded. Double quotes yes, or a decoy. She walked over to the wall panel, tapped in a code, a small file. Opened blueprints of the life pod. She turned the screen to Jocks. Show me. Jocks pointed at the central pod unit. This component, it runs temperature and neural sync. But someone added a power splitter here, a tiny one. She zoomed in. It was there, faint, almost invisible. Whoever did this used internal tools. They accessed the pod while it was being prepped. Threx looked at him. You weren't supposed to see this, I know, but you did. I did. She stepped back, then tapped her CUM. Security, lockdown medical storage. Level 4. All logs from the last 40 hours. Yes, Admiral, came the reply. She turned to Jocks. I need to know how deep this goes. It goes deep, Jocks said. Someone inside your ship doesn't want your son to live. Why? Because if he dies, power shifts, control fragments. Empires crack from the inside. Threx nodded slowly. Then her voice hardened. You're coming with me to where? The mind of the ship. They arrived at the core nexus, a place Jocks had never entered. Only top command was allowed. The doors were heavy, guarded by 2 AI drones and 6 elite soldiers. The doors opened. Inside was a dark room filled with moving lights and spinning holograms. The ship's brain, the AI core dot, the system that ran every part of Vorten 7. Accessing full memory archive, Threx said the room responded with a low hum. Images appeared, moments from the last. Few days all recorded, the life pod prep, the medical Team. One figure stood out, an alien medic, female, red markings on her neck, Jocks pointed, her name Threx spoke, display record, medic Tyla Knox. A full profile appeared, background ranks, clearances, high security, trusted since year 8. She had clearance to the biocore, and the pod Jocks added. Where is she now? Threx asked. The AI answered, missing, beacon disabled. Jocks and Threx looked at each other. She's running, which means she knows she's exposed. Threx turned to her guards. Seal all shuttle bays. Full lockdown. Yes, Admiral. Jocks stared at the image of Tila Knox. Then something clicked. In his brain, the pattern on her neck. What about it? It's not medical. He leaned closer. It's a cipher tattoo. Threx's face turned to stone. You're sure? I've seen it before. Black ciphers leave marks in code. That's how they send messages between agents. What does it mean? Jocks stared at it, read the lines, the curves, then whispered, 1 life for 1 future. A kill order, she was the assassin. Threx turned, get me command deck now. A new image appeared. Tyla was near Shuttle Bay. 3 guards were already moving in, but it was too late. In a flash on the screen, the shuttle exploded. Threx cursed. She had a self-destruct trigger. Jocks stared at the fireball. She's gone. But he didn't feel victory. Only questions. She wasn't working alone, Jocks said. No assassin, this deep work solo. She had help. Threx nodded. Then we find them, and we stop them. Hours passed. The ship remained locked down. Tensions rose. Whispers filled the halls. Rumors of assassination, of war, of betrayal, and in the center of it all, a human mechanic. Once ignored, now watched by every eye on the ship. Some with fear, some with wonder, but all with curiosity. Who was this man? Why did he care? Why had he saved the prince? Only Jocks knew. It wasn't about reward or fame. It was about truth. Machines never lied, but people did. And now he was stuck between them both. The stars outside burned silently. The ship drifted above the dead planet like a ghost. Inside, tension twisted through every corridor. The crew whispered in corners. Officers stayed alert. Security teams doubled patrols. Everyone knew something terrible had happened, but only a few knew the truth. An assassin had tried to kill the Emperor's only son. The killer was gone. But the danger wasn't over now. The Emperor himself was coming. The ship buzzed with fear. Not just respect, real fear. No one disobeyed the Emperor, not even admirals. JAX stood near a long window. He watched a smaller cruiser approach. Black and gold, no lights, no markings. But everyone knew the design. Royal Transport. He could feel the change in the air. Even the walls seemed to tighten the ships. AI slowed its voice. The lights dimmed slightly. Everything was preparing. He turned as Admiral Threx entered the room. Her face was sharp. Eyes harder than before. Stay quiet. Stay out of sight, she said. He may ask for you. He may not. Jocks nodded once. I understand. He won't be like me. I didn't expect him to be. She paused, then added, if he asks a question, answer with truth. But no, more. Truth is all I ever speak. Jocks replied. She gave him a long look, then left. The docking bay lit up with gold lights. A bridge extended. The guards stood in perfect lines, weapons ready but lowered. Then the door opened. He stepped out, tall, thin. Thin, skin pale, silver with gold. Veins across his face, eyes black, like deep space. His cloak was layered in crystal armor, but he didn't need protection. Everyone feared his voice more than any weapon. Of the Varnathi Empire walked like gravity followed him. His name was Keller Vernas, the strongest voice in 10 star systems. He didn't look at the soldiers, didn't look at the admiral. His eyes moved to the air, as if reading something invisible. Then he spoke. I feel the scent of betrayal. No one answered. The air felt colder. Admiral Threx stepped forward. Welcome, Your Radiance. He nodded once. Where is my son? Alive, healing, but not safe. Show me. They entered the medical chamber. The boy lay on a crystal bed. Color had returned to his face. The Emperor stood still for 10 full seconds, then leaned forward, touched his son's forehead. Soft blue light passed between them. Then he stood straight. He will live. Everyone exhaled. He turned. Now, tell me who tried to take his life. Threx answered. The assassin is dead. But not the one who opened the door. No, Your Radiance. He looked around. I want them found. Yes, Your Radiance. Then his eyes fell on Jocks. He walked slowly toward him. Each step echoed. Jocks stood still, didn't move, didn't blink. The Emperor stopped 2 steps away. You are the one. Jocks nodded once. I fixed the system, and your son, you are human. Yes, a prisoner. Yes, why? I was captured in war. Do you still serve Earth? No, Earth forgot me. The Emperor studied him. Many have said humans are weak. I am not many, and yet you saved a future Emperor. Jocks said nothing. The Emperor tilted his head. You could have let him die. I don't fix what isn't broken. But when something is broken, I fix it. You speak like a machine. I trust machines more than people. A pause. Then the Emperor said, I want him free. Everyone gasped. Even Threx flinched. My lord, she started. Silence, the Emperor said. He saved the bloodline. That debt must be paid. Jocks felt the weight of every eye on him. The Emperor turned. He will be released from service, given quarters, food, clean clothing, access to ship records. The guards stepped back. Jocks said quietly, Thank you. But the Emperor wasn't done. You will work for me now. Jocks raised an eyebrow. As what? My eyes? My ears? My mind inside the machines, Jocks hesitated, then nodded. I accept. Hours later, Jocks stood in his new quarters, small, clean, private. His tools were neatly stored on a rack. His old scanner had been repaired and returned. He took a long breath. Freedom, he had forgotten what it felt like. But it wasn't real freedom, not. Yet now he worked for a greater power, and his enemies were still hidden. He sat at the desk, pulled up the ships. Network, his clearance was low, but higher than before. He searched for logs. Tied to Commander Verne, still no sign of guilt, but someone had used his code, which meant someone with access. He thought back to Tyla Knox. She was smart, quiet, clean. She must have had help. A second person, someone in the chain of command, he searched deeper, cross-matched times, movements, and found a strange LOOPA-coded message sent from the medical wing butt, bounced through the cargo bay relay's first dot. Why reroute through cargo? He searched manifests. One shipment matched the time, a container marked as engine scrap, but there was no record of it being opened. He pulled up security footage. The hallway was empty. Then the camera glitched for 2 seconds. And when it came back, so did the container, but slightly moved, tampered. He leaned back. Who was inside? The next morning, Jocks visited Threx in her command chamber. She raised an eyebrow. You walk freely now, your Emperor's orders. What do you want? Access to cargo logs? Why? I found the other trail. She leaned forward. Explain. Jocks showed the footage, the time glitch, the strange container. Her eyes narrowed. This was after the attack. Yes. Which means they were covering their tracks, or retrieving something. She tapped her comm. Security scan container. #9X7 in Bay 12. Full bio and tech sweep. Yes, Admiral. Jocks stared at the screen. I think we're close. So do I, she said. And close is where people die. The ship groaned as it moved through deep space. Inside, everything felt colder, tighter. JAX walked through a maintenance corridor, his eyes scanning every shadow. He could feel it again. That strange presence, the one that watched without being seen. The Emperor had freed him, given him a purpose. But freedom didn't mean safety. Not here, not when enemies still hid in the dark. Soft hiss escaped from a vent. Jocks paused, listened. Nothing. He moved again, down, into the cargo decks. The air was damp here, smelled like oil and dust. He reached Bay 12. 2 guards stood outside the sealed container. They stepped aside when they saw. Jocks said. They nodded. He tapped the control panel. The seal broke. The door creaked. Open darkness inside. He stepped in slowly, pulled out his scanner. The beam of red light cut through the dark. Old metal loose. Wires, broken engine parts. But then something new. A strange silver disc. Half buried under metal scrap. He knelt down, scanned it. No signal, no power, but the shape was familiar too. Familiar. A signal CLOAK. Military dash grade, used to hide tech signatures from sensors. Someone had smuggled it in, hidden, among junk. Used it, then left it here to rot. He lifted it up on the bottom. Small text, numbers, a code. He ran it through his scanner. One result, linked to Commander Verne's assistant. Jocks narrowed his eyes. Another name, another door opening. Hours later, Jocks sat with Threx in her private chamber. She reviewed the scan data. And she accessed medical systems 3 days ago. Threx leaned back. This wasn't just an attempt to kill my son. It was a setup, Jocks said. Designed to point to Verne, but controlled by someone else. She stood, walked. To the long window, the stars outside flickered. Someone wants war. Jocks joined her. Yes, or chaos, both, he said. She looked at him. You've come far for someone who once fixed pipes in silence. I listen, he said, and I remember. A long silence, then her comm buzzed. Admiral, engine sensors are picking up strange heat spikes. We're lower deck, sub-engine room 3. Alert all crew. Lock it down. Yes, Admiral. She turned to Jocks. Go. That's your world. He was already moving. The lower decks were shaking. Jocks ran through the narrow halls. Steam leaked from cracks in the walls. His boots echoed on metal. He reached sub-engine room 3, inside. The air was thick with smoke. Something had overloaded panels. Sparked, The core glowed red. He grabbed a coolant hose, sprayed the base, the light dimmed. Then he saw it, a small device stuck behind the reactor wall, blinking a timer. 5 seconds left. His eyes widened. He dove forward, yanked it free. The timer hit. 0. Click. No explosion. Instead. Burned. He stumbled toward the exit, but it was locked. He hit the panel, nothing, trapped. He dropped to his knees. Breathing shallow, fighting, appeared seconds later. They carried him away. Jocks woke hours later, his throat dry. Vision. Blurry, but he was alive. The nurse gave him water, then left. Threx entered quietly. You almost died. I've had worse. She sat beside him. That device was not just sabotage. No, it was targeted. Your access code opened that room, which means they used your name to trap you. Someone wants me gone. She nodded. But they failed. Not yet, Jock said. They'll try again. Let them. She stood. Rest. When you're stronger, we go after them. Jocks looked up. Together. Yes, she said. I'm done trusting shadows. The next day, Jocks was back in the engine bay. He felt weak, but clear. His fingers moved slowly over wires. Machines were honest. Simple truth lived in circuits, not in people, but he had learned their patterns. 2, he looked at the crew. Most kept their distance. Some nodded. A few whispered thanks. But he saw one face watching him, not with fear, with calculation. A tall officer near the reactor control, acting like he belonged, but Jocks had never seen him before. To clean, to quiet, he turned the officer. Vanished. Down the hall. Jax followed quick steps, turning corners. Down into the silent levels. He slowed, listened, nothing. Then he heard it, metal on metal, a door closing. He ran, reached a hatch, forced it open. Inside nothing but a ladder and dark. Air below. He climbed down. The noise grew louder then. A shadow moved. A boot stepped forward, and the officer lunged at him. Blade drawn. Jax ducked. The knife missed. He grabbed the man's arm. Twisted. The attacker slammed him into the wall. They fought in silence. No words, only gasps. Jax kicked the blade away, punched hard. The man stumbled, fell, unconscious. Jax searched his pockets, found a data chip, red. Encrypted. He took it, climbed back up, and locked the hatch behind him, back in his quarters. Jocks plugged the chip into his scanner. The screen blinked, then opened messages. Maps. Names.a. Full plan. Phase 1, kill the air. Phase 2, blame Earth. Phase 3, force a war vote. Jocks leaned back, stared at the screen. They were trying to frame his people, his planet. Even after the war was over, they wanted Earth crushed, blamed for a murder they didn't commit. And he was just in the way. The screen still glowed in Jocks' hands. The data chip was full of secrets, names, times. Orders. Proof that someone was planning a war. And Earth would take the blame. It all made sense now, why they tried to kill the Emperor's son, why they framed Commander Vu RN, why they left Jocks to die in the gas chamber. They didn't care who got crushed as long as the fire spread. He saved the file, encrypted it, then sent a message. Admiral? Threx stared at the report on her screen. Her jaw tightened. Her voice was cold. This is worse than treason. They want the Empire to fall into war, Jocks said. Why? To break order? To open the doors for chaos. The black ciphers profit from war. Threx's eyes burned, and some within our own command are helping them. Jocks nodded. The officer who attacked me wasn't acting alone. There's someone else, higher, who I don't know yet, but I can find out. Threx leaned forward. What do you need? Access to the main power core. She frowned. Why? Because that's where the real plan is hidden. She hesitated. Even I can't open that without Imperial code. Then ask him, Jocks said. The Emperor sat in a quiet room of black glass and silver flame. No throne, no guards, only silence. Threx entered first, then Jocks. They bowed. The Emperor stood. I've read the chip, he said. JX raised his eyes. You believe it? I don't believe anything, I confirm. He walked slowly around them. You want access to my ship's heart? Yes, Jock said. Why? Because they're hiding something there. The Emperor stopped. You could destroy this vessel from there. I won't. You're still human. Yes. The room fell silent again. Then the Emperor spoke. My son is alive because of you. That is more than most have given me. He walked to a panel, placed his hand on it. The wall lit up. A single line appeared. Access granted. The path to the core was deep, far below the engine rooms, past the security decks, even past the AI vault. Jock's had never been this deep. The air felt heavier, warmer. The lights flickered more often. Only 3 people were allowed to go. With him, Rex. 2, elite guards. No others. The hallway ended at a massive door. Old, carved with ancient alien letters. JAX placed his hand on the panel. It scanned him, then opened with a hiss inside. The main power core hummed, a massive column of blue energy, pulsing like a heart. The walls were covered in cables, panels, cooling systems. He stepped inside, the door shut behind them. The room was silent. Except for the hum, he walked slowly, scanning everything. Then he saw it, a second cable, out of place, too new, too clean. He followed it. It led behind a cooling panel. He opened the latch, and froze. Inside was a strange black device, pulsing, alive. A shadow weapon, designed to spread virus code through the ship's AI. Not to destroy, but to rewrite control. Whoever used it could take over the ship silently. Without firing a single shot, he turned to Threx. This is it. She stared. What does it do? It gives full control of this ship to someone else. She stepped back. Can you disable it? Jox nodded. Double quotes. Yes, but what? If I touch it, it may trigger a signal to the one who planted it. Threx looked around, then said, do it anyway. Jox took a breath, opened his tool. Kit reached in carefully, pulled out a thin blade. He sliced one of the small wires. The pulse stopped. Then, a sound. A high-pitched scream, not in the room, in the ship itself. An alarm. Then a voice from Threxus. Come, Admiral, we have a breach in the AI vault. Unknown figures inside, Threx shouted. Seal it off. The voice replied. Too late. Their static. JAX stood up. They're moving now, fast. Threx turned to the guards. Back to the command deck. Now, they ran. But it was too late. As they reached the upper decks, smoke filled the air, sirens blared, red lights flashed across the halls, officers shouted, doors locked, systems shut down. Jox ran beside Threx. What are they doing? Taking the bridge, she said. And they've shut down internal sensors. They're covering their tracks. Jox stopped. His scanner buzzed. Then the signal flashed. They're moving to the weapons array. Threx cursed. If they get control, they'll fire on Earth and start the war. They reached the bridge entrance. Guards lay on the ground. Stunned. Alive. But unconscious Jox pulled his wrench. Threx drew her weapon. They stepped inside, smoke flickering lights. 3 figures near the controls, black armored helmets moving. Fast. To fast. JAX spotted the one in charge. Short. Lean. Fingers dancing over the command. Keys. He charged, tackled the figure. They crashed into the floor. The helmet fell off, and Jox stared. It was Lysa Varen, alive. Her eyes burned with rage. You should have died in that gas. And you should have stayed in exile. Jox growled. She kicked him back, stood, raised a small blade. Threx shot it from her hand. The blast echoed. The guards stormed in. The other 2 traitors were caught, dragged. Down Lysa knelt, blood on her lip. Can't stop it, she hissed. Stop what? Jox asked. The signal, it's already been sent. Threx stepped forward. Where? Lysa smiled. Home. Then she passed out. Jox stood at the main console, typed fast, found the transmission. The signal. His hands froze. It went to Earth, he said. What did she send? Threx asked. A false war order. Can we stop it? He worked fast, sweat on his face. Maybe. Threx stared at the screen. Then do it. He hacked the signal chain, rerouted the stream, inserted a code, then hit send. The screen flashed countersignal. Broadcasted, the AI said. JAX exhaled. It's done. Threx looked at him. You just stopped a war. No, Jox said. I delayed one. The stars looked different from Earth's orbit. JX stood in the observation deck of the Varnathi Royal Cruiser below him. Earth turned slowly, blue dot, green dot, clouds. Swirling dot, it looked peaceful, but peace was an illusion. The false war order had reached Earth. And somewhere down there, someone was waiting to finish what the traitors had started. Threx walked up beside him. She stared at the planet in silence, then said, "Are you ready?" "No," Jox replied, "but I'm going anyway." The shuttle landed in Sector 12, an Earth military base, hidden in the Rocky Mountains. Thick defenses, tall towers, drones hovered above like metal birds, but they were allowed to pass. The Emperor himself had cleared the path, a special mission. One Earth had agreed to. Barely. JAX stepped out of the shuttle. The cold air hit his face. It had been years. Since he stood on real soil, he looked around. Uniformed officers stared at him. A few stepped back. Some recognized him. Whispers spread. "That's Jox Merrill. He's still alive. No way." He was declared dead. He ignored them, walked toward the base doors. Inside. The lights were dim. Security was tight. Weapons visible. He was taken down long halls to a steel door. Then inside a conference room, General McCrae sat at the far end, old, broad-shouldered, white, hair, a scar down his cheek. 2 guards stood behind him. Jox Merrill. The general said, "I never thought I'd see you again." "Same," Jox replied. "You've caused quite a storm." "I'm trying to stop one," the general leaned forward. "Explain." Jox placed the data chip on the table, activated the files, maps, orders. The intercepted fake war signal, planned to push Earth into attacking the Varnathi. The general's eyes narrowed. He read silently, then cursed. "Where did you get this?" "From inside the Empire's flagship. And you want me to believe this wasn't a trap? You know me. I knew you. I haven't changed," Jox said. Or did the general stared at the data, then pointed to a name on the screen. "Are you sure about this?" Jox nodded. "This is the man behind the final signal, the one who activated the sleeper code. He's here, on Earth." The general's jaw tightened. "Then we find him." Jox was given a small team for elite agents. Armed, trained, fast. Their mission: find and stop a man named Elias Dorn, once a high-level Earth intelligence officer, now a ghost, disappeared after the Earth-Varnathi war. Everyone thought he was dead, but his name appeared in the transmission log. One message signed ED. He was the last piece of the plan, and Jox had less than 12 hours to stop him. They tracked his signal to an abandoned tech factory near the old city ruins. Wind howled through broken towers. Birds scattered as the shuttle descended. Jox stepped out. The air was dry. Dust rose from every step. His scanner blinked. "Signal's faint," he said, "but it's here." They moved slowly, weapons ready, eyes sharp. Jox led them through the collapsed halls, machines covered in rust, old cables dangled like vines. Then they reached the central room. A single chair sat under a light. Someone was there, back turned, hunched, typing. On a device, "Dorn," Jox shouted. The man turned. His face was older, beard gray, eyes sharp. "Jox Merrill," Dorn said. "You made it." Jox raised his tool weapon, shut it down. Dorn smiled. "You think I didn't expect you?" The lights flickered, then screens lit up around the room. War footage, explosions, burning, ships, dead cities. "You think peace means safety," Dorn said. "We're weak. We lost because we trusted." "You're wrong," Jox said. "We lost because people like you turned it into revenge." Dorn stood slowly. "Look at us, Jox. You were their mechanic. I was their spy. Both of us forgotten. Left behind. That doesn't mean we burn it all down." Dorn tapped his device. A countdown appeared. 10 minutes? What is it? A message. Not just to Earth, to every system, the Empire, the rebels, the black markets. "I send this, and chaos spreads. No one wins." Which is exactly the point. Jox stepped closer. "You're insane." "No, I'm awake." Jox moved fast. Dorn reached for a weapon. Jox tackled him. They crashed to the floor. The device skidded away. Gunfire echoed. One of the guards fired at a hidden drone above. It exploded. Sparks rained down JAX, and Dorn wrestled. Dorn punched hard. Jox rolled, grabbed a cable from the floor, wrapped it around Dorn's arm, pulled. Dorn gasped. Then Jox slammed him into the ground. Dorn was still. Jox crawled too. The device. The timer was at 30 seconds. He opened the back panel to many wires. Too little time. He closed his eyes. Listened. The machine hummed. Like a rhythm, he followed it. Cut one wire, then another. The countdown froze at 8 seconds. Silent. Jax sat back, breathing hard. His hands shook. But it was done later. Jox sat outside the ruins. The wind cooled his skin. Dorn had been taken. The device, dismantled. Earth was safe. For now, Threx appeared on a holoscreen. You did it. He's in custody, Jox said. The Empire thanks you. No, Jox said. Didn't do it for them then. Why? Jox looked at the stars. For the future, the stars above Vorten 7 shone brighter than ever. The royal cruiser floated in orbit, silent and massive. Inside the Hall of Judgment, the Emperor stood on a silver platform. His son sat beside him, healed, quiet, eyes watchful. The chamber was filled with silence. Officers, guards, leaders from both Earth and the Empire sat in rows. And in the center of them all, Jox, Merrill, no armor, no weapons, just a mechanic. But every eye was on him, Emperor. Keller spoke. Today, we pass judgment. He turned his gaze to Alias Dorn, the traitor, the mastermind, bound in restraints. Head lowered, the Emperor's voice was calm. You nearly started a war that would have destroyed 2 civilizations. Dorn said nothing, only smiled faintly. Betrayed Earth, you betrayed peace. Still, Dorn stayed silent. Threx stepped forward. Jox stopped him, found him, fought him, saved us all. The Emperor nodded. Indeed. He looked at Jox. You have served more than any general, more than any spy. Jox didn't respond. He didn't need to. His work spoke louder than words. The Emperor raised his hand. A drone floated forward with a small case. It opened. Inside was a medallion, black and gold, the symbol of the eternal. Order and honor given only to the most loyal protectors of the Empire. The Emperor held it out. Neil. Jox didn't move. People murmured. Then he spoke. No. Gasps filled the chamber. The Emperor tilted his head. Explain. Jox stepped forward. Forgive me, Your Radiance, but I didn't do this for medals. Then what for? For truth, for peace, for the chance that maybe humans and aliens don't always have to kill each other. The Emperor lowered the medallion. You deny honor. I accept peace, Jox said. Let that be my reward. The chamber was silent. Then, slowly, the Emperor smiled. A rare thing. You are a strange man. I get that a lot. Later, Jox stood alone in the engine bay, back where it all started. Same smell, same hum. But everything felt different. He ran his hand along. A coolant pipe, still cracked, still leaking. Some things never changed. Threx entered quietly. You said, no to the highest honor in the Empire. I said no to becoming something I'm not. You're already more than you know, she said. Maybe, but I'm still a mechanic. She looked at him. Where will you go? I don't know, Jox said. Maybe I'll fix ships. Maybe I'll fix people. I'm not good at war, but I'm good at putting things back together. She nodded slowly. You saved my son. You gave me a chance. They stood in silence. Then she said, there's a ship leaving for the outer colonies. They need engineers and people who know how to survive. Jox looked at her. You recommending me? No, she said. I'm asking. You two go. He smiled. Fair enough. That night, Jox walked through the ship one last time. Crew members nodded. Some saluted. Others looked down, embarrassed. All of them had once ignored him. Now, they saw him. But Jox didn't need the attention. He just wanted the engines to run smooth. He reached his small quarters, packed a few tools, a data chip, the broken scanner that still half worked. Then he picked up the coat Admiral Threx had given him. Simple, sturdy, clean. He put it on, walked to the launch bay. A small transport was waiting. He climbed aboard. One pilot nodded. Double quotes, you ready? As I'll ever be. The hatch closed, the ship lifted, and just like that, he left the Empire behind. Out in deep space, the stars never ended. The transport glided between them like a bird through an endless ocean. Jax sat by the window, watched. The lights pass. The pilot turned. "What's your name again, Jocks? Where you from?" "Earth." The pilot smiled. "Funny, you don't talk like them. I haven't been there in a long time. You military." "No spy." Jocks laughed. "Mechanic." The pilot raised an eyebrow. "Just a mechanic?" Jocks looked out the window, then said quietly, "The right tool in the right hands can change everything." Back on Vorten 7, the Emperor stood in silence. His son approached. "Father." "Yes." "Why did he refuse the honor?" The Emperor thought for a moment, then replied, "Because he did not need it." "Will we see him again?" "I hope not." "Why?" "Because if we do, it means something is broken again, somewhere far away." A small colony ship shook as its engine flared. The captain shouted, "The core is overheating, systems failing." People panicked. Jax climbed down into the crawl space, slid under hot metal, pulled open the core. Wires fried pressure. "Hi." He looked around, smiled, whispered to himself. Just like home. He reached into his kit, grabbed a wrench, and started fixing the end. The stars above Vorten 7 shone brighter than ever. The royal cruiser floated in orbit, silent and massive. Inside the Hall of Judgment, the Emperor stood on a silver platform. His son sat beside him, healed, quiet, eyes watchful. The chamber was filled with silence. Officers, guards, leaders from both Earth and the Empire sat in rows, and in the center of them all, Jocks, Merrill, no armor, no weapons, just a mechanic, but every eye was on him. Emperor Keller spoke. "Today, we pass judgment." He turned his gaze to Alias Dorn, the traitor, the mastermind bound in restraints. Head lowered, the Emperor's voice was calm. "You nearly started a war that would have destroyed 2 civilizations." Dorn said nothing, only smiled faintly. "Betrayed Earth, you betrayed peace." Still, Dorn stayed silent. Threx stepped forward. Jocks stopped him, found him, fought him, saved us all. The Emperor nodded. "Indeed." He looked at Jocks. "You have served more than any general, more than any spy." Jocks didn't respond. He didn't need to. His work spoke louder than words. The Emperor raised his hand. A drone floated forward with a small case. It opened. Inside was a medallion, black and gold, the symbol of the Eternal. Order, an honor given only to the most loyal protectors of the Empire. The Emperor held it out. "Kneel." Jocks didn't move. People murmured, then he spoke. "No." Gasps filled the chamber. The Emperor tilted his head, explained. Jocks stepped forward. "Forgive me, Your Radiance. But I didn't do this for medals. Then what for? For truth, for peace, for the chance that maybe humans and aliens don't always have to kill each other." The Emperor lowered the medallion. "You deny honor." "I accept peace," Jocks said. "Let that be my reward." The chamber was silent. Then slowly, the Emperor smiled. "A rare thing. You are a strange man. I get that a lot." Later, Jocks stood alone in the engine bay, back where it all started. Same smell, same hum, but everything felt different. He ran his hand along. A coolant pipe still cracked, still leaking. Some things never changed. "Threx entered quietly," you said. "No to the highest honor in the Empire." I said no to becoming something I'm not. "You're already more than you know," she said. "Maybe, but I'm still a mechanic." She looked at him. "Where will you go?" "I don't know," Jocks said. "Maybe I'll fix ships. Maybe I'll fix people. I'm not good at war, but I'm good at putting things back together." She nodded slowly. "You saved my son. You gave me a chance." They stood in silence. Then she said, "There's a ship leaving for the outer colonies. They need engineers, and people who know how to survive." Jocks looked at her. "You recommending me?" "No," she said. "I'm asking you to go." He smiled. "Fair enough." That night, Jocks walked through the ship one last time. Crew members nodded. Some saluted, others looked down, embarrassed. All of them had once ignored him now. They saw him, but Jocks didn't need the attention. He just wanted the engines to run smooth. He reached his small quarters, packed a few tools, the data chip, the broken scanner that still half worked. Then he picked up the coat Admiral Threx had given him. Simple, sturdy, clean. He put it on. Walked to the launch bay. A small transport was waiting. He Climbed aboard. One pilot nodded. Double quotes, you ready? As I'll ever be. The hatch closed, the ship lifted, and just like that, he left the Empire behind. Out in deep space, the stars never ended. The transport glided between them, like a bird through an endless ocean. JAX sat by the window, watched the lights pass. The pilot turned. What's your name again, Jocks? Where are you from? Earth. The pilot smiled. Funny, you don't talk like them. I haven't been there in a long time. You military? No, spy. Jocks, laughed Mechanic. The pilot raised an eyebrow. Just a mechanic? Jocks looked out the window, then said quietly, the right tool, in the right hands, can change everything. Back on Vorton 7, the Emperor stood in silence. His son approached. Father, yes. Why did he refuse the honor? The Emperor thought for a moment, then replied, because he did not need it. Will we see him again? I hope not. Why? Because if we do, it means something is broken again, somewhere far away. A small colony ship shook as its engine flared. The captain shouted, the core is overheating. Systems failing. People panicked. JAX climbed down into the crawl space, slid under hot metal, pulled open the core. Wires, fried pressure. Hi, he looked around, smiled, whispered to himself, just like home. He reached into his kit, grabbed a wrench, and started fixing. The end.